Hello there, and welcome into another edition of the JMac podcast and a special episode of POTUS Did What? As we talk about whether or not the claims or the statements that the world is going to plunge into violence if Joe Biden gets elected, is that true or not? Before we dive into that, please take a minute and like this video, share it, and like the Facebook page, a comment, if you will. That will help me spread the word about the important issues of the day. Now, the reason we're answering the question, will the election of Joe Biden result in violence in the streets, is because all during the GOP convention and since this allegation has been made, and it's even come down to an ad that was put together by the Trump campaign to talk about how bad it's going to be. Now, let me set this ad up for you. It's a 911 call to a 911 center, and it goes to voicemail because they've cut the police funding and there's nobody there to take the call. But during the video, if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see it. But if you're watching the Facebook video, you'll be able to see it. They show images of rioters in the streets. And the whole idea is that if Joe Biden is elected, this is what you're going to see in the streets of America. And oh my goodness, could you imagine if this type of stuff was going on in the streets of America? This would never happen under a Trump presidency. At least that's the message. Here's the ad. I'd love your feedback on it. Let me know what you think.
You have reached the 911 police emergency line. Due to defunding of the police department, we're sorry, but no one is here to take your call. If you're calling to report a rape, please press 1. To report a murder, press 2. To report a home invasion, press 3. For all other crimes, leave your name and number, and someone will get back to you. Our estimated wait time is currently 5 days. Goodbye.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Of course you did. And there's a caption that says, "You won't be safe in Joe Biden's America." And another caption that says, "Joe Biden's supporters want to defund the police." And that's an important distinction. It says his supporters want to defund the police. Now, I'm just going to share this with you. When I watched this video, I thought it was fake. I thought for sure it had to be fake. Because the message that they're pitching here is bizarre. It really is striking when you look at it. And let me explain to you why. This is supposed to be what happens in Joe Biden's America. But if you go back through and you look at every single clip of rioting that is shown in this video, they all are images from riots this year. And let me think about this for a minute. Who's the president right now? Is it Joe Biden? No, it's not. It's President Trump. These are images of President Trump's America. And they're selling the idea that this is what Joe Biden's America looks like. It's bizarre. It's like we're in that ulterior universe. Remember in Star Trek when there was the transporter error and good Spock and Kirk ended up in the bad dimension and bad Spock and Kirk ended up in the good dimension? That's what this is. Because they're literally saying, if you don't want this, what's happening right now, then you need to re-elect Trump. But it's happening now, and there's absolutely nothing going on to stop it. Do you have any feeling like, oh, the president is doing something right now that's going to stop this? Or, oh, the cities are doing something that's going to stop this. Oh, we're feeling progress, and we're going to come to a conclusion, and President Trump is on the right track. I don't feel that. And honestly, I don't think Joe Biden is going to have any real strong solutions when it comes to it either. Because this is not necessarily a national issue. Now, Joe Biden has come out and he is condemning all violence, and he's calling on President Trump to do the same.
Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden condemned violence in Portland, Oregon on Sunday. That's after police said one person was fatally shot amid clashes between Black Lives Matter protesters and counter-protesters. The Democrat urged President Trump to do the same, underscoring his message by noting that a death is tragic no matter what political views the victim held. Biden says, quote, "I condemn this violence unequivocally. I condemn violence of every kind by anyone, whether on the left or the right, and I challenge Donald Trump to do the same."
All right, congratulations. Everybody is condemning the violence, although President Trump has condemned the violence on the rioter side, but has praised the protesters, the people who are coming out and they're causing violence on his behalf, his supporters. At least that's how it feels to me. I don't know that this is an issue that a president can solve. I don't know that Joe Biden can solve this issue. I think he will take a different track. I think he will take the track that every other previous president of the United States would have taken. And that is to try and speak peace to both sides. I don't know if it will work, but that's what, as I've studied every president, they've asked the question, how can I unify? How can I find common ground? How can I speak peace to both sides? To me, that's what good leadership does, is in a crisis, you try and find that common ground and you try and build on it. And then you work your way out. Now, will you make progress as a president doing that? I don't know. This is a very unique situation. But that's what I would hope that a president would do during these critical times. Try and make all sides feel that they're being heard, that they are being considered, that their issues are real, or at least you're going to look into them, and that you're going to do everything in your power to try and find a solution that satisfies the majority of the people. What's happening now is we actually point out our differences. We choose a side and act like our side is 100% righteous in what they're doing, and the other side is 100% evil. Now, is that ever really the reality? No, of course not, which is why good leaders will always try and find that middle ground. Now, unfortunately, in today's world, finding middle ground is perceived as a weakness as opposed to good leadership. But I will continue to ask, what does the divisive choosing a side and pointing fingers at the other side, what does that do? How does that help? How are you going to come to any grand solutions? You've actually adopted a philosophy that your side is so right and so righteous that the other side just needs to be shouted down. And somehow you believe that you can get enough power in government to actually just legislate the other side away. I mean, think about that. That's what the right wants. That's what President Trump wants. They don't want the other side to be heard. They don't believe that Democrats deserve a voice. They want that voice to be shouted down. They want it to be legislated away. There's no belief there that maybe the Democrats have some good ideas or maybe they have a right to fight for what they believe. And there's a lot of Democrats on the other side who treat the GOP in the same way. So this isn't about finding real solutions. This is about finding divisions so that you can capitalize on them, so that you can foment anger, so that you can divide people and fire up your base, believing that the key to your reelection is getting your base fired up. Unfortunately, I don't believe, looking at the numbers, that President Trump can win with just his fired up base. We will wait and see what the outcome is. But more than anything, I will lament the fact that we don't have real leadership. Now, I did mention to you that I don't know that any real leadership from a president is going to make a difference when it comes to these police shootings, because these are local issues. These have to be solved by city councils. These have to be solved by state legislatures. There's not a lot that a federal government can do beyond trying to speak peace to people and asking that cooler heads prevail. That would be that would be at least worth a try. But it's going to take every city to make changes within their own police departments. It's going to take cities to make the citizens feel like the police force is there to protect everybody equally and is not targeting anybody. So, again, I don't know if Joe Biden's America looks any different than Trump's America, because I don't know that this is an issue that a president can solve. That's where I'm at with this. Hey, do me a favor and take a minute and donate to the podcast. You can become a patron by clicking on the link in the description and commit to a monthly donation, $1 a month, $10 a month. Any donation that you make will help me continue to bring important information to you every single day. You can also make a one-time donation. There's a link for that as well. To those of you who have donated and become a patron so far, thank you so much. You've helped me cover my base cost, which is fantastic, because you cannot produce a podcast for free. You cannot distribute it for free. So I just hope that if you feel that I'm bringing you some type of value, that you will help me pay for that value, and that you will be willing to continue to have it be produced because you've decided to step up and make a donation. So to those of you who have, thank you. And if you haven't, please take a minute and do it today.